Well, here we are working on the 944 V8 project. Last night we were able to get all the suspension stuff and the cross member all bolted back together the way it's supposed to be and all torqued down and everything. And then we moved on to the oil filter and remote oil line problem. So we decided to go with more of a straight run. Basically, the oil lines attached to the back of the oil pan here, and then they were running out to the front, up into the nose panel, and around up through a hole here, and then down to the remote oil filter. So we've shortened that up quite a bit. Basically, it's going to bolt right underneath this frame horn here, right on the bottom of it. We removed one of the tow hook things and drilled the mount for the remote oil filter out a little bit, and that'll bolt right on there. So we'll just have a straight shot, no curves or bends or anything, straight to the oil filter. That should help. That was the idea. And I figured, well, I will take the remote mount off and have a look at it just to see if I can see anything wrong. And if you look on the inlet side here, no worries, you can see straight through. But on the outlet side, yeah, it's got to take a little bit of a turn there, but that's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is probably very difficult to see inside that center hole, but the threads on this adapter go in well past the flush point of where the oil is. So that might create some restriction. I'm not sure, but I think what I'm going to do is pull this thing out, cut the end of this off so it doesn't stick so far into the housing. And I don't know, hopefully all this will keep us from blowing off oil lines. These are our new oil lines here. That's what we're using. Alright, more later. Alright, so we cut this one down, cut 3 threads off of it so it doesn't protrude as far into that passage there as it did, so it won't create as much of a oil restriction coming out. Now we just have to make sure we can get it to seal. See, it's fairly short now. So we'll tape it, goop it up, and hope for the best. Okay, well, we finished up with the remote oil filter mounting. It's a little hard to see under here, but basically the oil lines come out of the oil pan there. They go through that heat shielding stuff that's gold over top of the cross member, over top of the rack, over top of the sway bar, and that's where we mounted the oil filter now. So this is fairly short, straight run. So hopefully we won't have any problems with it. And we also cut down that one fitting so it would not protrude as far into the oil passageway as it did. Hopefully that will I don't know if that was causing a restriction or not. It looked like it probably could, so having that out of the way is probably better. So hopefully these two things will cure our oil hose popping problem. 'Cause that was really getting old. I mean, the hose is rated for 250 psi, so there's no reason it should have been breaking. I doubt if the oil pressure is that high. So, well, once we get it running, we'll figure that out. Alright, so here we go. We've got everything all back together. Got the battery charged. And the oil system's all hooked up. It's got oil in it, got water in it. It's got year-old gas in it now, so that'll be interesting. I think we got everything plugged back in. I have fuel pump unplugged right now, so I'm just going to crank it to get some oil pressure up, then I'll plug the fuel pump in. Alright, got some oil pressure. Looks like we're a little low on brake fluid. That's probably because of the clutch, so just dump some in real quick. Put this back in. There. Now the fuel pump should come on. It's just open header, so it's going to be loud if it starts up. Well, it still runs. Let's see if anything's leaking out of the bottom. Don't see any oil leaks. It's a good sign. That looks all nice and dry. Filter seems to be holding, and oil lamp seemed to be holding. So I guess we can call this a success. Woohoo! Of course, the real test will be, you know, once we get the trans back in it and drive it a bit. For right now, I'm pretty happy to finally hear it again. It was March of last year, I think, the last time it ran. So yeah, this is kind of a big moment. We're getting back at it now. Transaxle's over there on the floor, well, on the cart. So the trans mount will be the next thing we try and conquer. Not quite sure what we're going to do with that, but yeah, we'll figure that out. Then we'll bolt the trans in, and hopefully we'll be able to drive it. All right.